Conor, you haven't had a chance to have a word yet at full time. I suppose people at home probably curious. There's two ends of the spectrum. This is as close as Italy have run Ireland in Dublin. Is this because the overwhelming sense of the Irish team a little bit in decline? Is this more about Italy upwardly mobile? I'm sure it's a bit of both, but where do you think the balance lies?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of both, but I think we need to be really complimentary of Italy. And we spoke about them before the game. We expected this, and they showed up, and they showed up for the whole game. We spoke about 60-minute mark. Traditionally maybe Ireland would pull away. The bench came on around that 55-minute mark, and we got a try, and you had a feeling, are we going to pull away? But I think that shows the quality of this Italian side. They stuck around right until the very end. And Caelan spoke about character there, that defensive set at the end where Lowy got that intercept. That whole passage of play, I think Andy will be really pleased with that, because those boys in the dressing room, they wouldn't have been surprised with the quality of Italy that showed up today.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, listen, I think they'll be happy with the performance. They'll be very happy with the result. Okay, they would have been nervy taking the field today, because of the nature of last week, the nature of the beating. It's unusual for this team to have the media and the public a little bit on their backs and not behind them. So it is harder going into these types of games, even though it's Italy. I think that the story of the match, though, is the bench and the impact that they made, particularly around number 9 and 10. I thought when Gibson Park and Crowley came on, the whole game shifted. Now, there was a bit of work done before them with Tadhg Furlong coming on, and Tadhg Byrne had a big impact too. But you could see the whole tempo of the game changed.
Yeah. Invariably, it's going to come up. Has Crowley played himself into the 10 jersey for Twickenham is going to be a question this week.
He did himself no harm. You know what I mean? He came on, he made a real impact. I thought, as Rob said, he was just really, his decision making, he had almost, and it's probably not what you have to do, but he had his decision made almost before he had the ball. You know what I mean? You could see him get the ball in his hands early, get it to the guys he wanted to get it to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought he did himself no harm.
He came in and he fitted into the system, and I know Andy asks that from his bench players to not come on and try and pull a rabbit out of a hat, especially at 10. Yeah. And Jack came on and just did his job really efficiently. Because he came on when the bench had kind of made a little bit of an impact, and he's dealing with front football, and it probably is a little bit easier to pick those options, but it's around the people around him as well that made him look pretty good.
Yeah, what do you think, Rob? Because obviously Prendergast has been generally favoured. Do you think that sways it today or no?
Listen, I think Sam looks like a player who is lacking a little bit of confidence. And Jack came on and looked like a player who had so much confidence, and he made all the really good decisions, kicked 2 from 2. Sam obviously missed 2 relatively straightforward kicks at goal. That often gives you an insight into where a player's psyche and confidence is at. So Andy Farrell always says, I love having multiple players going for the jersey. We're still none the wiser.
Yeah.